So I've been playing beer league hockey from inline to ice hockey for about 20 years now. I never really tried to learn the position properly, and I've never been coached until now. Hey, what's up, goalies? You heard it right. I've been working with a coach recently, and I'm super excited to share these on ice sessions with all of you on YouTube. This is going to be the first of a multi part series. I'm going to try to document as much as I can of my on ice sessions and share that for all of you goalies out there who might find this helpful, who are trying to get back into the position, pick up a few things from these videos, and hopefully it'll be a really great resource for all of you who simply don't have the luxury of working with a goalie coach. So big shout out to Iris of Provision Goaltending, who is my coach throughout these sessions. So if you're in the Lower Mainland in the Vancouver area, definitely check out his website and check out his goalie services if you need any training. I'll post a link in the description below. Big thanks for him for letting us use this content on the channel. And without further ado, let's check out how a 41-year-old goalie fares out in his first on-ice private goalie session. Kick off the session by looking at my stance. Overall, his feedback was to actually work with a more narrow stance to start off with. That's because it's going to give you more mobility and movement, and we're trying to get to the pucks before they're shot, and then getting into a lower stance, and then getting into our nice butterfly. We also talk about the three main stances and when they're used. So a more upright stance is for just tracking the puck, which allows you to move around the crease easier when the puck is a little bit closer in, which is a lower crouch and your stick is closer to the ice. And then obviously when the puck is almost being shot, that's when you get into your low stance with your stick on the ice and you're ready for the butterfly. Throughout the session, working in a narrow stance is actually going to be like the main theme of this first lesson, and that's just to improve mobility overall. So kind of going back to real basic skating, the first drill is essentially just to do C-cuts with one leg. I hate to say it, but I'm actually embarrassed to say that I can't really do C-cuts. I've never actually tried practicing them all, and I never really took time to actually try to learn these. So we start by doing single leg C-cuts, which I actually have a lot of trouble doing. After kind of watching me struggle a little bit here, he actually recommends doing an initial push off into glide and then start off to do the C-cut. This actually helps me out a little bit, which allows me to kind of dig in the ice and get a little bit more push and glide into it. If you're doing this correctly, you should be able to hear the skate carving into the ice, doing it correctly. If you're not really getting that nice carve, you want to just have a little bit more ankle flexion in there to really dig into the ice. After a couple of rounds of these, I was actually able to hear the ice dig in there, and lo and behold, after about 20 years of trying to skate properly, this is like the first time I've done a half decent C-cut. So we just continued doing C-cut drills, so going forwards and then backwards with single legs and then alternating C-cuts per leg. I had a little bit of trouble doing backwards C-cuts, so he recommends that I try to get a little bit higher and more narrow my stance again and just kind of glide back and forth. Again, this is just to get a feel for how it is to actually get that edge and dig into that ice. After doing these C-cut drills and kind of struggling through them, it's definitely clear that I have to put an emphasis on C-cuts since it's essentially the foundation of most of the goalie movements. So after doing the C-cut drills, we just jump onto doing shuffles. And we're just kind of going across the ice first and then kind of spinning around and then using the other leg, going left to right. Now if you're following this channel, this is something that I've actually been practicing quite a lot recently. Overall, they weren't too bad. You can see me bobbing up and down, which is not good, so you want to kind of keep your shoulders level as you're going and doing your shuffles. One of the main critiques here is to emphasize on pulling the drag leg in quicker. This is so you can regain balance and be set right after the shuffle. So we also even try to, again, kind of narrow my stance. So when we bring the drag leg in, we get into a more narrow, compact stance. This is just going to allow you to have more balance and be set for the shot. Anytime you have your legs kind of spread apart doing these type of skating movements, It doesn't really allow you to be snappy and quick and kind of lose balance that way. So next we jump onto our T-pushes, which is another staple goalie movement. So to start off with, these are just flat T-pushes across the blue line, so there's no angle change to them. The way you do this is you just open your hip and push straight across. Again, T-pushes are something that I learned using these synthetic tiles not too long ago, so I did feel pretty comfortable doing this. However, as we were kind of going through the drill, I did find that stopping on the left foot was much more difficult for me. I had a little bit of a hard time kind of pivoting perpendicular direction to really stop my leg. I mean, everybody has a weaker side that they have to work with. So as we're going through some of these drills, I would go through a few reps and then the coach would kind of ask me, how did that feel? And what that kind of allows me to do is reflect on what I just did. It forces me to explain what felt right and what didn't feel right. So when it came to stopping with my left foot, I actually feel that I'm leaning too far back on my heel when I'm trying to stop. So my pivot isn't really working correctly. And again, the main critique here again is just to quickly snap the back leg in and then again into a more narrow stance. You notice that the second set of T-pushes are a lot more sharper and precise. So if there's one thing after going through these skating drills that's really been drilled into my head, is that I need to work in a more of a narrow, compact stance as I'm doing these and to snap my trail leg in. Again, we're trying to get to these positions. We're trying to move to a position in the ice and maintain our balance and be very precise with our movements. Before getting into any shooting drills, we'll just kind of do some warm-ups with the gloves. When in a butterfly position, it's pretty straightforward. We'll just take a few shots to the glove and then the blocker. And the key here is to always follow the puck with your head and track it into either your catcher or your blocker. One critique that the coach had is when the puck is kind of coming inside between your glove and your shoulder, you want to try to just use your chest and lean into it and then cup the puck, as opposed to trying to twist your glove around and trying to catch it, if that kind of makes sense. When working on the blocker side, the main critique for my blocker save was to just project it outwards a little bit more as it was sitting a little bit behind. I also realized I've been getting beat blocker side quite a bit recently, so this is something that I just have to kind of build into muscle memory. And one thing that I wasn't aware of, when the puck is being shot blocker side, don't try to bring your glove over and catch it. You want to just try to catch it with your body instead. The last 10-15 minutes or so, we're going to do some shooting drills here. Up till now, I'm actually not too tired. I'm feeling pretty good. Until we go into the first shooting drill, you're going to see and get a little tired here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm taking a T-push to the top of the circle, taking a low stick save shot, and then recovering back to the post. So first thing is, I've never in my life practiced taking a low stick save. So this is already something new. Most of the time when you're playing beer league, people are just trying to warm you up by taking headshots or sniping in the top corner. I can tell you for a fact that after only a couple shots of these, I'm actually feeling pretty gassed. One of the more interesting critiques of doing this is I'm actually not correctly setting at the top of the crease. So when I'm T-pushing to the top, I'm kind of doing a double set, like my hips aren't really square to the center. When I kind of slow this down in my head, when I get to the top of the crease, I actually feel like I'm losing a bit of balance. So to kind of address this again, we go back to that narrowing of the stance and pulling that back leg in just to kind of gain more balance as we're on the top of the crease. And the last set does feel a bit better. You can see that I'm not hobbling as much when I'm up there at the top of the crease. So this is a really good thing to be able to see and actually be able to address as well. So definitely to add on to my next bit of homework is working on these T-pushes from the post to the top of the crease and just making sure that I'm set. So that's the end of the first 1 hour session. Most of it was basic foundational skating, which is great. It really kind of exposed a lot of foundational things that I need to work on going forward. So as far as the first session goes, there wasn't too many shots. It was mostly focused on skating. I was extremely happy with this because on my way to the rink, I was actually really nervous, and I started to have second thoughts about, hey, why the heck am I paying for goalie coach when I'm only playing in low-level beer league hockey? And I was actually worried that this session would be me getting pelted by pucks for an hour and just being completely gassed. But the coach was extremely patient with me, taking it step by step from the very beginning, from the foundation, which is something that I really wanted to work on. So of course, doing an hour session is really helpful, but none of this is really going to stick unless I actually do some homework and get some reps in. What I took away from this session, the main things I need to work on are my C cuts, moving around in a more narrow stance, snapping my back leg in for basically all my skating movements like shuffles and T-pushes, and just practicing T-pushing from the post to the top of the crease and making sure that I'm set. So we do have another session lined up which might focus on a little bit more movement and shots. So definitely stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. I'm hoping that you goalies out there who have always wondered how it is to work with a coach can take away a few pointers from this and add to your game and improve whatever you are working on in terms of goaltending. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.